Very, very touchy subject here. Very, very touchy subject. As off top, I give the Most High all the honor, the glory, and all praise and worship. Thank you, Most High. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Thank you, Yahushua, who hung, bled, and died. Sister Mary, this is a video response back to you. You see my title, Pastors who have committed rape, pastors who are sex offenders, etc. I'm not talking about all pastors, we already know that. To respond back to your email, sister, the thing is, especially women, and I'm not talking about all women, but a lot of women look up and put their trust into man, to pastors. There are so many pastors. Now let's just keep this in mind. They are a man first. Before you think about their title, they still a man. You don't think there's pastors out there who fight with pornography, pastors who love sex, and think about the ones that's single. Pastors who are pedophiles, and there have been pastors that have raped women. Some of them thought they was gonna get away with it. But women that do this, I know I'm trying to say this in the most respectfulest way I know how, they don't think at times that that man who claimed to be a man of God won't do wrong. So you really don't know. Because when you see a church growing and growing, well, that pastor must be doing right. That pastor must be, man, that pastor got it going on. And some people worship the pastor. It ain't even about the Holy Spirit. It's about the man, the pastor that's standing there. They elevating the man, putting him on the pedestal. But again, I'm not talking about all pastors. But there are a lot of vulnerable women out here who want to be around the pastor. And then there are some women out here, they don't care if the pastor is married. They all up in the pastor's face. Ooh, I'm gonna do this for pastor. I want to call pastor. And you know they like the pastor. And here go the thing. Some of the pastors that's in this, they know they like them right back. See, when you start, like you said in your email, when you start talking about counseling somebody, man, there is no way a married man should be alone without his wife trying to counsel another woman who's single, or even if she is married, in the room together without his wife. That shouldn't happen. Especially if that woman is already attracted to the pastor. There's too many pastors that got in trouble because of that. But there are some pastors out here who are battling with homosexuality, pornography, drunkenness, drugs. And you would think, well, no, JT, that's a pastor. They can't be, man. Have you been looking at the news for years? Have you been watching what has been going on in most churches? Have you realized how many pastors done had to step down or done got busted? See, let me tell you something that hit Arlington, Texas years ago. Some of y'all remember this, and it fits so well with this video here. There was a pastor, some of y'all remember this. His name was Pastor Terry Hornbuckle. Some of y'all remember this. And he started a church years ago. I believe it was called Victory Temple. Victory Temple. And it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was in Arlington, Texas, right? He had about 14, 15 members. This was back in 1986 when he started out. And he eventually started growing. And then they moved into a storefront Dairy Queen in 1987. So he started growing and growing and growing. And then when he moved in 97, he turned around in 87, he changed the name of the church to Christian Agape. I think it was called Agape Christian Fellowship. This was in the 90s, around about 91 or 92, right? So he just kept growing and growing, right? And then he got into a 8,000 square foot strip mall back in 1995. He just kept growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And then they got into a 30,000 square foot, $3 million church in 1999. Growing. That catch people's attention. That's why I keep saying growing. Man, I remember when he started, you know how people do. I remember when he started with 15 members. I remember when they was in that storefront Dairy Queen. They growing. I'm painting the pictures for you. I remember when they moved into that strip mall. I remember when, but then, boy, look, he had about over 2,000 members. They had that $3 million building. And look at all the degrees that he had, went to school for and got. But in 2006, what happened? This hurt so many members. This hurt so many people. And can you imagine what his wife had to deal with? Well, what you talking about, JT? Because in 2006, he was found guilty of raping 3 women. 2 of them women was straight out of his congregation. You didn't think it would happen. Pastor was hooked on meth. The report said that he drugged them women on meth and messed with them, raped them, forced them. It was already rumors going around saying that he'd been messing with the women in the church, but they said it was just rumors. But when it all hit the fan, they locked Terry up. Somebody gonna say now, his wife didn't catch on to that. How could his wife not see that? How she get caught off guard with that? Or did she know? Did she have some feelings that she knew that he could have been acting weird? She did say he was acting violently. He started acting real violent. But you can tell a man loves sex. Then he need to go to the psychic. He need to do a psych evaluation. They found him guilty. I think he did all his 15, 16 years. But my point is, a lot of people think a pastor won't fall. They think because they wear the title pastor or elder or bishop that they won't fall. There's a lot of men. It wasn't just Hornbuckle. Some of them just ain't never got caught. You done got men caught with men. I told y'all about that other incident. How many years ago was that? They found that homosexual pastor who was having an affair on the other man, and murder took place. Not trying to sound nasty, y'all. This is a true story. When the police and them entered into the scene, they found that man in the room. I think his throat was slit, and they had put his penis in his mouth. Pastors, homosexual relationships. See, this is why I talk about titles so much, about why so many people get stuck on these titles, because this person is wearing this title, and it's a sad thing. Because this is why the Holy Spirit say I am not a respecter of person. Now, do pastors have to be held at a higher accountability? Yes. That's why repenting is so important. That's why the Bible say, woe, woe, woe unto you pastors who scatter my sheep. Them woes, trouble, sorrow, sadness, messed up woes. This stuff been going on for years. And it should be a lesson learned that, once again, you call yourself getting behind closed doors with these men. Ladies, you gotta be very careful. When I was recording out of my house with the little studio, I would never bring a woman into my home without her husband. If I meet her, I need to meet your husband. I remember talking to my girl, Chris. Chris, just as beautiful as she could be, can sing. And where your husband at, Chris? Even if we were just going to rehearse and go over some music, Chris, bring your husband with you. Because, see, I don't play that. I don't disrespect another man's wife, and I'm not going to be around your wife while you're not there. Now, if it's my cousin or something, that's different. But especially single women or married women, I need your husband on the scene. Because I ain't got time to be trying to be sitting up here going through some stuff, somebody lying, or you got these insecure men. Brother, what you really not doing with my wife? Y'all ain't just doing music. So I always cover myself in that way. I've always tried to protect myself the best way I can in this music field. And I've done a great job. I'm saying but I mean the Holy Spirit in me. Because the Holy Spirit shows me what to do. Make sure the husband is there. Well, JT, them church women, man, you talking about, it's done been on both sides. I didn't always just play church music. I didn't always just produce church music. I've produced all kind of music. And you have to be careful. And I'm saying it to say same thing with a pastor. If you got them pastor studies and all the church members gone, you calling that old girl in that office, it's too much go wrong with that. But this man was actually guilty, found guilty, raped those 3 women, was on meth, methadone, however you want to say it, was on meth, and we all know what meth is. Drugged them, raped them. You know what that does to a woman? Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's cases out here where some women done hollered out rape and it never happened. Trust me, I know. Trust me, I know. I've went through that. Y'all already know my story. I went through that. And by the grace and by the Most High being my lawyer, by the Most High just wiping my slate clean with the police department having to move and losing all my files from that BS I went through. Something that never happened. They ain't never raped nobody day in my life. I swear I know how if sometime these women don't get their way, they'll holler out rape on you. Not all women. Kind of remind me of the scene on Rosewood, and I'll close with this. For those that ever seen the movie Rosewood, you know, with Vin Rames and Don Cheadle, Esther Rowland when she was alive. But you remember that lady, Fannie Taylor, hollered out rape? And she said it was a nigga that did it, a nigga. And it never was rape. She was cheating on her husband with another white man while he was at work. And she hollered out rape and got the whole town pretty much murdered. It's a lot of innocent people in prison, but it's also a lot of guilty people in prison. This stuff ain't nothing to play around with. And if you can prevent from being in these closed areas, pastors that's listening, do it. Back yourself up the best way you know how. Sometimes it's just best not to even be around stuff, y'all, if you know what I mean. And on that note, shalom.